Car crash cases, defective products, dangerous drugs, injuries, and abuse. Across the state of Alabama, the attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis, Wright, are here to serve you. Your tough legal questions answered by our experts. The attorneys with Josh Wright from the law firm of Hollis, Wright, and host David Lamb.
Hello and welcome into the attorneys. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. For the next half hour, we have a panel of experts assembled to deal with a topic that we believe will matter and be pertinent to you and your life. Before we get going on that and introduce tonight's guests, I want to remind you of how you can join our conversation. First of all, attorneys from Hollis, Wright standing by live all throughout the program. Actual attorneys, an off-air confidential conversation that you can have with them. Just pick up the phone and give them a call all throughout the program tonight. Also, you can text us. If you want to text us, that number is 205-670-1949. And if you want to give us a call, 844-529-8255. Would love to hear from you for the next half hour. Going to be a really interesting conversation. Leading tonight's conversation, he's the managing partner of Hollis Wright, Josh Wright. Josh, good to see you, my friend.
You too.
You okay?
Doing great. Doing
Good.
great. You know, we do some interesting topics. I think this is the first time we've actually put this spin on it.
Okay.
We're going to talk tonight just kind of generally about employee benefits and individual disability insurance policies.
Okay.
And what Tom Sinclair, our expert tonight, is calling our safety net. And he's going to kind of lead, guide, and direct us through this conversation. It's a really interesting area of the law, and it's good information for people that are workers out there that may need to protect themselves in certain circumstances to make sure that they've got a safety net moving forward. Not everybody's got the same family structure. Not everybody's got the same financial resources. Not everybody comes from the same socioeconomic backgrounds, and everybody can provide a safety net for themselves. And so we're going to be talking about that a little bit tonight. But I hope you had a good week to start.
Did. Thank you, sir.
You know, I know when you give those numbers out each week, I think people sometimes question, hey, is there really a lawyer on the other end of that line? And the answer is yeah. If you call, text, email, if you call 844-LAW-TALK, you're going to talk with a lawyer. What's unique about our show is you can call us tonight and you can have a confidential off-air conversation where you're not going to be on the air. We're not going to talk about your business on the air, but we're there with attorneys to be able to answer some legal related issues that hopefully will help folks in their regular everyday life. That was the reason we started this show many years ago, and I think we've continued it to this day.
Agreed.
First of all, Tom, welcome.
Josh, thank you.
You've been on the show before.
I think I have,
I think you have. It's been a while.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting topic. There aren't a lot of lawyers that dabble into this area of the law. How did you kind of get into this?
My first case actually was back in 2002, and it came up in the context of a employee benefit package.
Okay.
And a woman who was suffering greatly from a medical condition, and she didn't have the economic means to continue to provide support for her family. And as a result, had to force herself to continue to work when her claim was denied. That case actually ended up in the Wall Street Journal. It was a write-up that talked about the safety net that is out there. And that's what we're talking about, is a safety net for those unplanned events that we all plan for, whether it's in the purchase of individual disability insurance policies or in the purchase of employee benefits or employee benefits that are provided. Those safety nets provide a critical resource in the time of need when you have traumatic events that occur.
You know, and I kind of started early on in the show that people are from different socioeconomic backgrounds. Some people have a better financial background, maybe in support with their family. Some people don't have that. That's why this is really important for everyone.
It is. Everybody needs a safety net. Yeah. When you talk about the cases that you see on a regular basis where there's been a traumatic event, some massive 18-wheeler has caused substantial damage to someone or killed them, there are immediate concerns there that you need to talk with an attorney about. And that's why providing that number for people to call in and speak with somebody who's an attorney is so critically important. But it's also important that you talk to an attorney who's experienced enough to look for these safety net issues, and I know your folks are. Yeah. Safety nets are out there to provide some economic means for you to survive that traumatic event for at least long enough for the bigger claims that you would be handling to be dealt with. That's the critical thing.
Tom, I kind of skipped over because we jumped right into the topic. Tell me just a little bit about, though, your firm. I know you've got your own firm here. What do you focus on? Is this kind of a primary focus of yours, or do you kind of do some of the same stuff we do, personal injury world? Tell us a little bit about you.
No, I'm nowhere near good enough to do what you do.
Not true, not true.
What we focus on, I have now 6 people, 3 attorneys and 3 other support personnel that focus exclusively on these safety net issues. We work in conjunction with your firm. A lot of times we'll get calls and ask questions about what's going on with the safety net. We provide a resource that's focused and specialized just in a very narrow area. When we're looking at the insurance products that you purchase to provide a security or safety net for your family, and when we talk about employee benefits, people oftentimes have no idea that they actually have. Yeah. We see that so often. When you get people from different economic backgrounds, from lawyers and doctors to other professionals to people who earn a living by the hour, almost none of them are fully aware of the employee benefits that they have. And that's where we come in. We investigate those employee benefits in those individual insurance policies, and we trigger the benefits that provide you with the immediate relief that you need to get through that event, financially through that event. There's a lot that goes into our profession. That's what we do immediately for people who come to us.
You know, and I look kind of at Tom's role and what he does for clients of ours as a really significant role. I get so many calls, David, all the time where people say, hey, you know, what am I going to do over the next, 6 months while you're litigating my case? Because a lot of times, it's not because lawyers are lazy, it's because courts are overwhelmed, insurance carriers don't always get back with people on time, lawsuits have to be filed, there are provisions once you file lawsuits of when somebody has to respond to that lawsuit, so things take time, and a lot of times, clients are like, look, during this time, what can I do to protect myself? And so I know we're getting ready to go to break, but when we come back, I want to talk really about what I call Tom's role, which is a super important one. He calls it the safety net. He's also a significant, important player in the legal industry as a gap filler to help look for other coverages that may protect somebody in the immediate short term, where then they can wait out the long-term litigation.
Sounds good. We'll pick it up right there whenever we come back as we head to break. Hey, real quick reminder about Hollis Wright on social media. If you search the term Hollis Wright, you'll find them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, just about everywhere. A great educational, informational, and sometimes really entertaining resource for you, so check them out there. Stay tuned. We've got more of The Attorneys coming right up.
I'm Josh Wright with the law firm of Hollis Wright, a personal injury law firm. Thank you for watching The Attorneys. Now, we hope you, a friend, or a loved one never needs legal counsel for a case. But if you do, the goal of the show is simple: provide answers and legal counsel when you need it the most. Your call to the show is free, so if you have questions specific to the show or related to other accident or injury-related topics, you can call, email, or text us. Or you can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter, or simply contact us by going to hollis-wright.com and click on the Contact Us link. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending it with us watching The Attorneys. It's common for a potential client to ask, there are many great firms out there. What separates Hollis Wright from other law firms? My response is generally to talk about the strengths of our law firm in handling cases throughout Alabama and the United States. That we've recovered through verdicts and settlements, hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients. That we have financial resources to hire any required expert and to take their case all the way to trial, even if it costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so. That we settle cases for top dollar before trial is needed because the insurance companies and defendants know we have the ability to take a case all the way to trial. That we handle cases only on a contingency fee, which means we never ask the client to pay any costs of litigation whatsoever and only recover those costs in a fee if we win for the client. That we have a staff of more than 20 employees that help us litigate cases from start to finish. That we've had a television show on NBC 13 for 6 years that answers thousands of questions to citizens for free each year. But what I've learned in the last 20 years as a trial lawyer is that clients want more and deserve more than all those things. Those things are expected of each law firm they consider. So with that wisdom, what I tell clients now is simply this. We are a family-oriented practice at Hollis Wright, just like their own family. That we are a team-oriented group that engages in team-building exercises and team-building events because it helps our clients win cases. That we are dads and moms and brothers and sisters. That we are former Alabama trial lawyer presidents. That we return every single telephone call from every single client. That our bedside manner is second to none. So what really separates our firm from others? We're balanced and well-rounded, and as such, we relate to people not just as lawyers, but as compassionate human beings. Human beings that know what it's like to face a day in court. We are advocates, we are compassionate, we are tireless. We are, simply put, Hollis Wright.
Welcome back into the Attorneys. Appreciate you being with us tonight. A couple of reminders before we get back to our conversation here. Attorneys from Hollis Wright standing by live. That's happening until the show's off the air tonight. So you've got about 20 minutes or so left remaining to take advantage of that opportunity for a free, confidential, all-fair conversation with an actual attorney, something you don't get every day. Also, if you want to text us, that number 205-670-1949. That's the number to text us. If you'd like to give us a call, that's 844-529-8255. Josh?
Also known as 844 Law Talk.
Also
as we have been
as.
for a long time. Law Talk, those are the numbers. All right, so, you know, when we went to break, I was talking about the gap-filling component that Tom and his firm play, and it's an important component. Life doesn't stop because you have an accident, right? And you may have had no impact on the accident. You're totally innocent. You came to the circumstance where you're involved in an accident that somebody caused. Your needs don't stop on that day, right? You may be able to explain to creditors, hey, look, this has happened. But at the end of the day, what Tom's firm helps do is exactly as he explained, is investigate, fill that gap during litigation, and investigate to determine what type of benefits are out there for you, and trigger some of those benefits when needed. And I just see that as a super important role in the legal world. I mean, it really is to help people that have been injured.
We have maintain that focus on that aspect because we've seen it since the very first case, almost 20 years now, dealing with these safety nets. And when you talk about speaking with an attorney, when they're talking about the number that you can call in on now and speak with an attorney, I can't tell you how crucial that is, because you need to speak with an attorney who's experienced in looking beyond what simply brought you to their door. When you call up Josh's firm and you're talking to one of his attorneys about a manufacturer's defect or some workplace injury, some catastrophic event, that attorney is going to be looking beyond that event to see what other legal issues you may be facing. And those come up all the time in these major events for your life. It could be a critical illness diagnosis. It could be, for example, a case that we worked on together where you have a potential claim dealing with a manufacturer's defect that caused an injury. When you look at that case, you have to see something beyond it. And that's what the attorneys at Hollis Wright did. They saw that there were safety net, insurance issues from employee benefits that were available. And that's where we went to investigate. And we found insurance, and we found an AD&D policy, accidental death and dismemberment policy, and triggered those benefits that were crucially needed to get the family through the litigation. That was crucial.
Tom, talk just for a minute about the difference between a group disability policy and individual disability policy, and why folks could conceivably have two separate components.
Sure. The Individual disability insurance policy would be governed by state law. And you think about that in terms of the types of claims that you would assert. Bad faith, denial, breach of contract. Those terms relate to state law claims. That in Alabama would be Alabama law, obviously. When you talk about employee benefits, what you're talking about is a specialized area of the law that is a federal law. Back in 1974, Congress was concerned that employers were reaching into pension funds and taking those funds away. So they enacted ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. And if that acronym isn't enough to put you asleep, wait till you look at the law. The law is so very specialized because there are so few people for the people. There's so few lawyers for the people. In ERISA terms, that federal law would preempt all of your state law claims. You would have to bring that specialized federal law claim in order to recover your benefits. That's the major difference, state law claims versus ERISA. And when you talk about ERISA and employee benefits, there are very few that do that.
Yeah. And a good example why Tom's firm is such an important component to helping people understand the complicated nature of some of the federal regulations and whatnot. We talked a little bit about disability policies and how those can gap fill. There are oftentimes provisions in those policies where you're not entitled to benefits immediately. You've got to be out of work for a certain period of time. Is that right?
That is correct. So when you talk about disability insurance, when you talk about a normal employee benefit package, it'll include a disability benefit in terms of a long-term disability or short-term disability benefit. It'll include life insurance benefits. For example, when you have a disabling event, you may need to be out of work for some short period of time. Typically, it's no more than 90 days. For short-term disability benefits, those may start immediately. But you have to investigate all of the employee benefits, not just the ones they know about when they come in. You have to trigger all of those benefits you possibly can. That's the key. You can't stop with just what the person was coming to your door for.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned an AD&D policy, and we see it quite a bit. And we definitely see it in circumstances where someone's an independent contractor and they go get an AD&D policy because they don't have workers' comp to rely on. How does that work generally? I mean, it's an accident-based policy. How does it generally work?
It is. You'll find a lot of group life insurance policies are sold in, they also contain within them an accidental death and dismemberment provision of benefit, which means essentially you've got a life insurance policy that contains an AD&D policy. It's two policies in one. Sometimes it's separate, but sometimes it's together in the group context. Accidental death and dismemberment provides an additional benefit beyond the life insurance benefit of the policy in the event that something were catastrophically to happen, cause you to lose loss of your arm, as we saw in one of the cases we worked on together last year. That's crucial. Look at all the benefits.
We see a lot, I know we're getting ready to go to break, but just one anecdotal story we see, and Tom's mentioning it, circumstances where workers are exposed to products, maybe where safety guards are removed, somebody ends up having an issue where they lose a hand, fingers, etc. That can change their life forever based on what their educational level was, whether they're a laborer, those types of things. And so a lot of times these policies can fill the gap, and sometimes they have double benefits as opposed to single benefits. You just got to understand what you're looking for, request of the employer, request of the family, to try and gather as much information as you can to make sure that you're protecting these individuals who have been in these catastrophic events that are life-changing and permanent.
All right. This is our final break of the evening. We're stepping aside. When we come back, again, just a few minutes remaining. If you want to give us a call or speak to those attorneys that are standing by live, you got a few minutes to do so. Stay tuned. The final segment of The Attorneys is coming right up.
I'm attorney Tyler Vail with the law firm of Hollis, Wright. Many people ask the same question: why should I hire a lawyer? While there may be some legal situations that do not require you to hire a lawyer, the clear majority of legal problems would certainly benefit from having competent counsel involved. To begin with, the law is complicated. Even experienced lawyers typically do not represent themselves in court. A solid case with clear liability can quickly unravel without the help of a trained attorney. Lawyers understand the rules of evidence and know how to properly lay a foundation to get critical evidence and testimony admitted into court. Lawyers are trained to recognize legal problems early on in a case and can help avoid pitfalls that unrepresented individuals may fall into. Lawyers can also increase the value of a case by getting experts involved to help prove additional damages that an unrepresented person may not realize they are entitled to. An experienced lawyer has probably worked on cases like yours and can give insight to negotiating a fair settlement based on recent jury verdicts and settlements that unrepresented individuals may not have access to. Another important reason to hire an attorney is because the person or business you sue will likely have legal representation themselves. Non-attorneys are generally at a disadvantage when squaring off against opposing counsel or doing business with another party that has legal counsel. The law is complicated, and an attorney who is representing your adversary may try to take advantage of you. Our law firm offers free case consultations that allow you to meet with us for free during a face-to-face meeting, where we can discuss the type of case you have, the potential value of your case, and your likelihood of success. This initial meeting can help you decide whether you need to hire a lawyer. Please remember, your call, email, or text to the attorneys is free. All of us at Hollis Wright want to help answer your questions on real issues you face. Remember, a competent lawyer will respond to every question you send in. That's our pledge and promise to you. Thanks for watching The Attorneys on WVTM 13.
Welcome back into The Attorneys. A few minutes remaining. A couple of reminders. Text us. That number 205-670-1949 or give us a call at 844-529-8255, 844-LAW-TALK. A question we've got here for our panel of experts. Is it possible for an individual to simply go through the administrative process, and if it does not work, then to come to you for help?
So when we talk about the administrative process, especially in terms of these critical need policies, the disability, the life insurance, the AD&D, the pension claims that can sometimes come up for disability. That administrative process is essentially describing what it says in the policy. You have to file the claim, you have to get a denial typically, appeal the denial, and then go back and ask them for reconsideration. That administrative process in an ERISA case is your trial, because when you get to federal court with an ERISA claim, the judge is not going to look at anything except what was put on the record during the administrative process. Put simply, you're trying your case by yourself. Now, if I had an accident, I'd be picking up the phone and calling you and having you represent me. I would not try to represent myself, even though I've tried cases. Don't try to do it yourself. That's just simply the biggest mistake we see. You have to call somebody.
Well, and one of the things I'm sure you've learned is if they try and do it themselves and then come to you, a lot of times the evidence that they can submit is completely locked down.
It is. I mean, take for example a case we saw where somebody came in after they tried to do it themselves, went through the administrative process. Their thought was, I'll just write a nice letter and explain why they're wrong. What happened was when the federal judge looked at that record, all he saw was a single letter that described what was wrong. No evidence, no sworn statements, no physician statements, all these things we do for you in that administrative process. Now, Josh and his team are not going to go to trial and just have one letter from their client to submit into evidence. It has to be prepared by a lawyer, and that's why you need to pick up the phone and call Josh's firm and get them to help you now.
Let me ask you this. How do you, someone that is involved in the safety net side of the practice, how are you guys compensated? Do you handle cases, like are you sometimes compensated through the process itself, through the court, or you work through a contingency? How does that generally work?
We do all three of your normal processes. Now, under ERISA, you have a right to a claim called a lodestar fee claim. In Alabama, to my knowledge, there's been 2 awards to a plaintiff for the time his attorney spent on the case in the past 15 years in a disability case. Both of those were mine. That's why I know there are only 2. You're looking at a very rare thing. So we have to account for the economics involved for each client. We look at whether or not they have the economic means. Some of them want to pay us by the hour, but most ask that we fight for them and only take a fee if we recover for them. And that's what we do for most of our clients.
So when you know you're going to evaluate it, you're taking those cases basically on a contingency fee or some form of contingency fee, probably with some minimum guarantees. But with a contingency fee relationship, they get the same level of legal service, you know, for free unless you recover that somebody on the defense side would get, for example.
That is exactly right. We maintain a practice where we do not go into a case thinking that we're just going to have to settle it. When we take on your claim, we are going to fight for you all the way through. Now, if settlement occurs, great. But if we get 200, 300, 400 hours into your case where we've spent that much time and spent thousands of dollars of our resources, you're going to get that same level for every case. That's what we have to do. That's why we do it in a very narrow, specialized window, so we can do the best work possible.
When you look at the definition of lawyer, it is a counselor that is there to help you through a process. And Tom and his firm, they're stereotypical examples of what a lawyer is. It really is to hit and protect and to ensure that the client is properly handled. And that's what a counselor does. That's what a lawyer does. So, I've always had a lot of respect for Tom and his firm because they're doing some good stuff.
Absolutely.
Going the extra mile, too.
We've got a little over a minute left. I want to give both of you an opportunity for a final thought. And Tom, if you would, you go first, please.
You need to understand that whether it's a manufacturer's defect, whether it's a personal injury claim, or a crash with an 18-wheeler, they're going to be a team of lawyers working for the other side. The first thing you need to do, whether it's catastrophic illness or some life event that's changing things for you, you need to get a team working for you. That's crucial.
Yeah, and one of the things that we recognized a long time ago as a law firm, David, is that we're not an expert in all areas of the law, and there's no need to try and be. I think when I initially started practicing, I thought to myself, well, I've got to be an expert in everything. You don't. What you do is you build alliances with guys like Tom, and Tom builds alliances with us, and we work together to make sure the client is completely protected. There's a whole other group of lawyers that aren't even sitting here that are involved sometimes after a resolution how to protect clients. And so, you put teams together because as a lawyer, you want to protect the client, and the team sometimes is most important. But come to someone. You don't have to come to us. There are a lot of great lawyers out there. Come to someone, make sure you're protected.
We appreciate you guys being with us.
Great job.
We appreciate you being with us as always. We'll look for you next time. Have a great week, everybody. See you next time on The Attorneys.
Thanks for watching The Attorneys, sponsored by Hollis Wright.